I'm going to admit this. I want to call Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher the Bernie Madoff of football coaches. I want to. I really do. And I thought about this, usually like I do, probably about 2.5 minutes before I just said it. But yeah, Jeff, that kind of fits. I know it's not fair, though. But I want to. Or maybe I could even say or imply he's like Enron with a headset. Or more modern take on this would be, what's our guy that just was found guilty of all counts? It's going to prison for the next 1,200 years or whatever with the fro. He is the, Sam Bankman-Fried without the fro? Is he a scammer? Is he a scammer? Is Jimbo Fisher a scammer with a country accent? I want to say yes, I do. And it would be fairly easy to make some of the arguments. Because if you look at the numbers, this is the head coach at Texas A&M. If you look at the numbers, it feels like a scam. You'd like to say, on the Aggies side, you'd like to say it's a scam. A loss to Ole Miss this past weekend takes the $100 million coach to 3-3 in the SEC. This is 1 year removed from going 2-6 in the SEC. The $100 million coach is now 26-21 in the SEC. A&M's probably going to finish 7-5 or 6-6 and blah, blah, blah. The usual meh, right? The scam arguments could go like this. Scam artist arguments could go like this. A fake return on the investment. Promises not kept. He's a bust for sure. But is he really Enron? I wonder if people know Enron anymore. It's pretty fascinating to say the least. Enron, Bernie Madoff, Sam Bankman-Fried, the progress we've made, of course, in scammers. But is he Enron? I can't say he cooked the books. That's what Enron did. He hasn't won big. He hasn't won it at all. It's meh at best. And to make it worse, he's incredibly irritating publicly. And I'd love to defend A&M like you were scammed, like Bernie Madoff victims. It would actually be kind of a nice change of pace to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys were tricked into this deal. You're the victims of a fake crypto scam. That would be convenient, and that would be very convenient for A&M to be the victim here. And it'd feel a lot better to say it. Probably be a lot more comfortable to pile on Jimbo Fisher and say, oh my gosh, he scammed those people. I can't believe what happened to them. But the A&M was not tricked. They weren't. I'd love to say you were, and maybe at some level you were, but Texas A&M knowingly and willingly signed up for an embarrassing and paralyzing $100 million swing and a miss. You weren't scammed. Slightly deceived, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying hard, man. I am dropping every scam artist I can to try to help you out. But at the end of the day, you went there knowingly and willingly, and you changed. Here's why this is important now. They have changed the industry. Probably not in a good way. Texas A&M is not a victim of a scam. If you're looking for the best comparison, and that's what I'm going to do now, because there's a story out today on Yahoo, and it says, here's the reality. Here's the reality concerning Jimbo Fisher's future at Texas A&M. It's complicated, and it is. It is. It's complicated, and your eyes kind of glaze over until you start hearing some of the dollar amounts here. So the fair comparison here, as much as he's an easy guy to dislike, you can't say he's Enron. You can't say he's Bernie Madoff. You can't say he's a crypto scammer. You can't. There's no evidence of that. They did this to themselves. They did it to themselves. So here's the real comparison. This one I think does apply. And I think it applies to everyone. It hurts. Texas A&M is the Cleveland Browns of college football. Ouch. And Jimbo Fisher is the Deshaun Watson of coaches. And that should hurt on a number of levels. Tell me I'm wrong, though. Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this is not the Cleveland Browns-like thing to do, and his path is not unlike Deshaun Watson. Ridiculously high pay and ridiculously absent results. Follow the connections here, and then follow the impact on the sport, because those may be the most dramatic connections at all. So salaries going forward, of course, have changed now because of the two comparisons here. The Cleveland Browns, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, and Deshaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns gave Deshaun Watson a deal that guaranteed $230 million for 5 years. Okay? It was absolutely asinine on every level. 3 days before the start of 2021, the Aggies were can't say it. You were tricked. The Aggies agreed to give Jimbo Fisher a contract extension that is fully guaranteed for 10 years. It's $94.5 million. Both of them, about the same time frame, went all in and have completely been burned. I mean, practically ruined because of these idiotic deals. The Deshaun Watson deal and the screaming sound you heard when that happened were NFL owners saying, oh, no, look what's happened to the bar. You know, the idea of guaranteeing contracts long term was completely off the table in the NFL until the Browns, the idiotic, underachieving, always stupid Cleveland Browns, went all in on a 10-year guarantee. It just was not done in the NFL. It was not a smart way to do business in the NFL, and the bar had never been taken there. And if you take a look what has happened since then, the owners and their fear that, wow, this is the new normal is exactly what has happened. Now, we can argue some guys, Deshaun Watson doesn't deserve it. Russell Wilson doesn't deserve it. You could say Lamar Jackson does. I mean, you can go back and forth on arguments. The player's side would say, hey, look, we've been waiting this for a long time. The point is, both of them did almost, A&M and Cleveland, did almost the exact same thing with almost the exact same pathetic results and have been burned by it. So the Deshaun Watson deal set in motion a spending spree of guaranteed contracts for quarterbacks that at this point is easily over $1 billion. Now, some of the guys are panning out, of course, but you know, year 1 or 2 does not define a 10-year guarantee deal. So it's easily $1 billion were set in motion. And just like the underachieving Deshaun Watson, guess what happened in college football? The spending spree in college football, I think you can tie that to the idiotic deal for Jimbo Fisher. Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for USC. Guess what? It's a $110 million guaranteed deal. Pretty close to the same time frame. He's lost 3 times already this year, and his team has no chance for a Final Four nor a Pac-12 championship. The Browns' deal for Deshaun Watson and the Aggies' deal for Jimbo Fisher are similar in a very awful way. Neither has delivered. I mean, some of these things work out, not many. This one is not. These two organizations, these two football franchises, and the Aggies, I can't say that you've historically been the Cleveland Browns, but this was a Cleveland Browns-like move because you've both done the exact same thing and been burned in the exact same way. And I would love to say both of you were tricked, but neither of you were tricked because you did it to yourselves and it was stupid. And now you can't get out. Neither one of them can get out. They can't just say, that's it, we're out. Both cases, the employers, A&M and Cleveland, have been ripped off or allowed themselves, let's be honest here, allowed themselves to be ripped off. Check out the performances and the similarities. Last year, Deshaun Watson, you know, the guy with a 10-year, $230 million contract, had all of 7 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. It's quite a return, isn't it? Feels Bernie Madoff-like. Jimbo Fisher, you know, the guy with basically a $100 million guaranteed 10-year contract, won all of 2 SEC games. This year, to make it all work now, Deshaun Watson has thrown for 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Again, what a great return on investment. Jimbo Fisher, slightly better than last year. He has 3 wins in the SEC this year and all of 5 SEC wins in 2 years. What a deal. Told you. I mean, you just look at it. You just go down the charts of underachieving on every level. You look at the money. I mean, I guess A&M could say at least we didn't spend $230 million. Yeah, good point. That's great. Feel better? What a deal. How's it end for the Aggies? That's the real question now. How does it end for the Aggies? It doesn't end for the Browns. I can tell you that now. I mean, he can sit around. You can bench him. You can, do what the Texans did and tell him to go hide and play on his phone. I mean, you can do all that stuff. You're going to be out $230 million. Right? You're in an arranged marriage. It's awful. The Aggies, what's your out? How does it end? It can't. It can't. There's not one. That's what the Yahoo story is really trying to say is, oh my gosh, this is dramatic. This is over the top. And they can't get out. They can't end. Jimbo Fisher's buyout this year is $77 million. $77 million. That's $77 million to say, I'd like you to leave now. They can't pay that. You can't. I mean, I don't know how anyone could justify it. I really don't. The answer is you can't. I don't care how many different conversations, how many different times somebody is kicking the ground saying, I can't believe we did this. I mean, I'm sure they're pissed. The Browns are pissed. I can't believe we did it. I don't know any scenario in which you can give a guy $77 million. 3 wins, 4 wins, 6 wins, it doesn't matter. You give a guy $77 million to go away, but remember, you then have to try and hire someone. It's a $100 million mistake for the Aggies. For Cleveland, it's close to a $150 to $200 million mistake that you can't get out of. I'd love to sit here. I really would. I would love to sit here. I mean, to make him go away, it's close to $80 million this year. It is embarrassing enough. And this is why I would just lay low if I were A&M. I would just sort of just own it and not say anything about it. Because it's embarrassing enough that you did the deal. It's even more embarrassing, I argue, to admit that it was an $80 million mistake by sending him out the door. I don't know that you fix your problem by writing him a check for $80 million. I really don't. The only good answer I can think of is just deal with it. Just hide. Just pretend it didn't happen. Because I don't think any way you can have a $100 million transaction right now. I mean, it would be beyond embarrassment. So I really wanted it to be that he tricked him. I really wanted to do all this Bernie Madoff stuff. But I mean, and that's not, truthfully, it's not fair. I'm sure A&M would love to say he's Bernie Madoff. I'm sure they'd love to sue him in some way, but they can't. I mean, there's no evidence of that. The Browns weren't tricked by Deshaun Watson and his agent, and the Aggies weren't tricked on this deal. They both have been shockingly wrong and shockingly stupid, and they're both getting burned every single week, and they don't have a way out. They really don't. Now, here's something to think about. The only slightly interesting thing left, once you've stated the obvious, and that is what a shockingly stupid deal. Think about this. Which one will turn out to be a worse deal? Right now, the way he's played, and I'm surprised how bad he's been. I really thought Deshaun Watson, I'm not saying he was worthy of a $230 million 10-year deal. I would not have argued that. But I did think he was going to be better than what you see now. He's been awful. Non-existent, basically. But which one is going to turn out to be a worse deal? The Deshaun Watson deal right now goes down as, if not the dumbest deal in modern sports. I don't know what's worse. I really don't know what would be worse. Somebody have an idea what would be worse than that deal? Right now it goes down as the dumbest deal in modern sports. There's not been a worse deal. I think the Jimbo Fisher deal it's just as bad in the coaching side. Which one in the end is going to turn out to be worse? Which one of these idiotic deals is going to turn out to be worse? Not better, because there's no better here. There's very little upside. Which one is going to turn out to be worse? I'm going to say Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, I do. I think he's near the end. There's really no sign of it getting better. There's really no way to make up the ground. The bar, the coaching industry, the bar has been set. It's spinning out of control. I think it's going to end up being worse. Deshaun Watson's got some time, and he's going to get the chance to fix it. I'm not sure he will, but for right now, I think the Jimbo Fisher deal is going to end up, dollar for dollar, result for result, going to end up being worse. Deshaun, look at it this way. I don't know. There's not much left for Jimbo Fisher to do that'll make it right. He's run out of games. And I really think the time that they end up playing Texas in the SEC is like the crown. It's like the stake driven home. I mean, I think that is just the final blow for this whole deal. I think the Deshaun Watson deal might have a better chance of not being as awful. He might, in the end, do something right.